pals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, and 70 Mounts Wood at the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Conway, Julian's Path. So let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright. That is understandable as well. Spend your whole life in one place, and the temptation to see other worlds would be terribly difficult to ignore. Not to say that the roving impulse is felt by all of us equally. There must be separate fashions for these kinds, for separate kinds. The spheres of our various interests and talents. And am I rambling? I don't know. A little? My spirits are lifting. That is what has happened. I do think looking towards the horizon helped after all. Maybe it's time I saw it for what it truly is. That seems to be a rather philosophical statement, but the painted dog is clearly a man of some intellect. You try to meet him on the same ground. A nest? No, I mean, could I have my glasses back if you would be so kind? I can hardly see you, let alone our destination or origin. He holds out his hand. You're not sure he'd even need the other to support himself now, let alone both, and you carefully set the glasses in the painted dog's palm. He places them smartly on the bridge of his muzzle, and then adjusts them precisely until he's satisfied with the fit. Much better, thank you. Of course, is the water any less troubling? Objectively, no, but I shall manage. So, why the Conway, then? If you're not a sailor and you don't like traveling... Traveling is lovely. In the right circumstances, of course. It is a change of scenery for myself, as you might have imagined. He gestures at himself, and, with the glasses, the genteel air is well and truly cemented. Coming aboard with no mess kit or fishing tackle, or whatever sort of accoutrements I would have expected to have as a proper tar... It is, despite his scholarly bearing, a number of words and phrases you also don't recognize. Perhaps Julian can help later. For now, you focus on the painted dog. But you wanted a change of scenery? Is that not the rub? Am I being brought over by my patron who desires that I work on her estate in the south? Paid to travel the world? That sounds like quite a lovely offer. I guess you're not sleeping with the sailors either. I am not, no. The accommodations are quite reasonable, all things considered, but the voyage is, to be honest, mostly done from necessity. Even if I were one of those professorial types, installed like a statue in a library, not everything can be done that way. Such as? I am to turn my energies and industries in full on the diversity of flora in that region, thereby to assemble a compendium of such notes and such conclusions as may lead to profitable ends. That sounds important, right? He smiles, his mood improving by the minute. I shall gather plants to see if any of them might be useful to my patron in her business. She's bringing me down there to allow me to do my work. As I said, I cannot do it in a library. Many of them have not been documented at all, at least not in languages any of us speak. I will be the first. That sounds like you do have a wonderful opportunity then. Being paid for everything, living in a fancy estate, traveling without needing to get your fur soaked in tallow and grease. His smile becomes a little gentler. True, I could not care less about the money, but the discoveries, that is a different matter. I may have preferred to stay home, truth be told, but when else would I be able to see the other side of the world like this? Never? And not the way you might, obviously. Paying for the voyage myself, no matter what accommodation, would be out of the question. I am quite sure of that. And I am not cut out to be a sailor. Even once I learned to keep my food down and my eyes looking elsewhere, I could not do it. Why? What makes you say that? Why could I not be a sailor? It's just not me, I suppose. For lack of any better or more useful way of putting it, it is for some people. As if he might have overstepped, he clears his throat and gestures to you. Nothing against you, of course, far from it. I mean to say that it is... I am not made for it, that is the problem. It is too dangerous, too physical, He trails off and lets his hand fall. I am simply not adventurous in that fashion. Sure you are, though. You're sailing around the world right now. You said so yourself. That sounds plenty adventurous to me. Sailing around a very particular world, my friend. A very particular one indeed. Here I have a little cabin all my own. There I shall have the estate, and perhaps even an assistant to help with my work. I feel the world around which I am sailing is only incidentally the one shared by the good ship, the Conway. I suppose, but it doesn't look that comfortable for you. An artifact of my softness, though, is it not? Even once that is past, no matter what, I will not be the one climbing up these. Are these the ropes they climb? I think they're the ropes they pull on to set the sails. Nobody's aloft right now, but you recall the ones you saw their sailors scrambling up and point them out. Those are the ones they'll be climbing. He looks at you expectantly, with his brow raised. Wheel. Those are the ones we'll be climbing. Right so. And when there is a storm, my duties will be to keep my glasses about me and my food in my stomach. Yours will be to keep the ship sound and all aboard her safe. He regards you with what, despite his station, seems almost like genuine respect. But that's what I am cut out for. I prefer it that way. Before you can answer, the ship's bell chimes. In case you didn't understand the meaning, a sailor's voice raises above it. Dinner is ready. How are you feeling? Well enough to eat? I suppose so, yes. Ah, that's a relief. The cook is quite good, I'm told. Something to look forward to. Well, I will not be dining with the crew, unfortunately, but I hope to find out nonetheless. Perhaps we will meet again, do you suppose? Thank you for the company. I would certainly not mind sharing it again. Well, then, yes, I hope so. Enjoy your dinner, He cants his head, peering at you curiously before it strikes him. Oh, goodness. 1,000 apologies. I am Nomax. It is a pleasure meeting you. He holds out his hand for you to shake, and, while yours is clean enough to feel the gesture permissible, you take him up on the offer. It's nice to meet you, Nomax. I'm James. There we go. Alright, one down, one to go. Alright. James, yes, I see. A pleasure meeting you as well. With a polite bow, he makes his way unsteadily down the ladder to the main deck. He's careful, putting one foot in front of the other, but at least he no longer seems like he needs to spend every moment bent over the railing. Like most of those you've met, he seems like an interesting fellow, with a bit of a character. You find yourself liking him, despite his slight awkwardness. There's not much space aboard the Conway, so you expect to see more of the painted dog. And if it's not looked upon favorably for the crew and the passers-by to mingle, well, surely Nomax should be the first to tell you that you should make your own destiny in that regard. You smile to yourself and decide that will have to be the case, and it's time for you to get going. Get going yourself. Dinner beckons. You think you can already feel yourself becoming steadier on your feet. Not as graceful as the maned wolf, Samuel, but then you've only been aboard a few hours. You are not, for instance, accustomed to how quickly the open-air topside gives way to the oppressive darkness of the ship's interior. There are hardly any openings from the outside world, save for the hatches that are also the only source of fresh air. Fortunately for the moment, the dominant smell is that of fresh cooking. It's thick in the air, and you already know it well. It will be delicious. Of course, first you have to find where it is. The last of the day's light flickers through scanty windows, sending faint beams through rising steam and motes of dust. Beneath it are the shifting, dim forms of your fellow crew. The end of the room marks the door to the officers' quarters. You can see Arthur in conversation with some feline, a cheetah you haven't seen before. It's not your world, anyway. You belong here, in the milieu of the other working men in the Conway. Later, the common areas where the crew will set up their hammocks, if you understand correctly. For now, wooden crates have been set up as tables. Sailors are already occupying them, sitting, eating, playing cards, savoring the respite from the shifts to follow. On one side, tucked away in a corner by himself, Wolf has found a relatively quiet spot, though you sense it's difficult, indeed, to truly be alone with your thoughts on a ship of this size. Elsewhere, Samuel and Julian have found a place for themselves, apparently without having to come to further blows. A few other sailors are sitting with them. You duck under a heavy beam, congratulating yourself for not discovering the sturdy wooden brace with your forehead. And now, sailor that you are, comes the most important choice of your first day. With whom do you end it? Who do you want to seek out for dinner? Join Samuel and Julian. First, though, you need to grab your share of today's dinner. The ship's cook has prepared salmon, just like Samuel said. A rather generous slice of it at that. It looks absolutely mouth-watering. The cook, Bandiel, has even made sure to garnish it for every crew member so that it looks really the part. Thank you so much, Bandiel. The Hare looks up from his work, as if surprised to be greeted that way. Have we met? You look new here. What voice was I doing for Bandiel? I just reported today. That's right, my name's James. And you know mine already. I hope the rumors haven't been too bad. No, far from it. Samuel's been talking up your cooking, and I couldn't wait. His friendly smile widens to a good-natured grin. Oh, has he now? Well, I think you've just ensured Samuel will have a little extra care put into his next meal. He must be up on deck again. Excuse me. No, he's just over there, actually. I was planning on sitting down with him in a second. You nod over your shoulder in the direction of Samuel and Julian's table. I can take something for him if you'd like. He shakes his head in response. He already had his supper earlier, but thank you. Oh, on second though, maybe I can smuggle him something. Talking me up like that has to be rewarded, doesn't it? I'll prepare something on a second plate. He begins doing just that, setting about the task with obvious skill. As far as you're concerned, he could just as easily have been at one of those fancy restaurants you've always heard about. So, you're one of the new pups. Already making friends, I see. Well, trying to make a good first impression. It's exciting. My first time away from town and all. Ah, wonderful. The enthusiasm never hurts. I'll tell you that much. The work isn't easy, and... He pauses, dropping his voice to a playful stage whisper. I'll let you in on a secret. The food won't always be quite this, fancy. They told me that, too. Kind of like a, last hurrah on leaving port. Indeed. It keeps everyone's spirits up. On your third week of salt pork, that can be a bit of a challenge. He grins, though. Every bit of him radiates an exuberant cheeriness that you imagine must be infectious. But we always manage, and for now, we have fresh fish. Salmon, right? Bandil nods crisply. Hand-picked by yours truly just this morning. One of the advantages of being in port. Seeing new things, taking in the flesh pots, that's pleasant enough. But a market, fresh food and spices, and the trust of the purser to spend his coin, of course. This is from, we're right down the street from the harbor. He pauses and rubs at his temple, struggling to remember the details. He can't help noticing that he keeps his fingers he's been using away from his fur. It's a subtle touch. A bright yellow house. Lovely old lady runs it. Her son's of a fishing boat, and she apparently has an appetite for hare ears, given how much she chewed mine off. I could swear that her plan was to never let me leave again. He briefly stops to rub his temples and looks over at you as if to interject his own sentence. Lovely stories, mind you. Oh, from Gundred's store? Yeah, she's a... You don't get out the word treasure before the hare cuts you off excitedly. Gundred! That's right! His excitement is definitely contagious, you decide. Yeah, she's a treasure. It's her son and grandson, actually. I've known them for years. I remember when I was a kid, years ago, my mother and I would go there occasionally. She'd always make sure to give me a bite of smoked eel. You smile with the memory, and Bandil seems to appreciate it as well. He could never afford to buy it. She's just always pushed a little something into my paws. She seems very kind. I'm not surprised, of course. Of course, I can't help noticing that I didn't get any morsels for free. Oh, well, Kidding. You're pretty sure he's teasing you, given his personality, but he hasn't gotten back to preparing dinner, either. It's fine if you set the bar too high for how cute one has to be to earn a bit of eel. Alright, y'all, I'm going to pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout-out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silver, and thank you going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 2 gold tier patrons, Zeke and Toby. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!